Howdy, 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 everybody, and welcome to the iGPFUN Formula 3 series here at Imola, here on Total Sim Sport. I'm Austin Knight. I'm joined by Seb Bosher-Williams and Sean Cranleigh-Swash here in the production booth here today. And oh man, Imola and Formula 3 action go hand in hand with just great days, and I'm so excited for today.
I certainly am too. Good evening and welcome to everybody at home tuning in for another great race in the iGPFUN League. We have 1 minute left in qualifying, and Jerome Lamy is once again at the top of the timing stands. He, of course, won the last round in Alton Park, and he is certainly doing exactly what he needs to do and bouncing back with a great lap time of a 1 minute 35.492. Marek is second, so watch out for that battle. We've got about 1 lap left for the top two. Actually, I lie. The top two are in the pits. Luca Ferrari is the highest driver who is still out on track, and we are watching him right now, so let's see what he can do. But, I mean, Austin, we love Imola, don't we, for Formula 3? It is just such a good track for racing.
It's so fun. Like, I know you and I were commentating on Formula 3, so yesterday, and we were very experienced. We've seen everything that can happen in probably the worst and the best ways. Luckily for us here in iRacing, there is no damp track to limit usage of the track, so that's good. Positive for us. And so all these drivers are going to be running at maximum grip at the start of this race, heading into Tamburello. It's going to be a lot of fun to see how everybody tackles Imola. And yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, we are. Sometimes we wish that iRacing had rain, but today we certainly are glad that it doesn't. It does give us the optimal experience for racing. And of course, these cars don't have DRS, so we don't have to wait 30 laps until the DRS is open to start having some overtaking. We're going to have overtaking left, right, and centre. And you're right, the F3 races we've commentated here on the in the past at Imola have been absolutely frenetic, and I just hope for one that I end this broadcast with somewhat of a voice left.
It is a that's probably the goal for me too as well. Well, usually you've commentated a good race where you can't speak after it, but it's also not good for your health.
Yes.
But if you leave this race with a smile on your face, then it is a good race presented by these guys and us here at Total Sim Sport.
Is indeed, you're right. And yeah, let's hope that everybody has fun. Us as commentators, you as the viewer, and the drivers that are out on track. Leonard O'Cherry is one of the only drivers, in fact, is the only driver still out on track. He's not really improving from what I can see.
He's just getting a few more laps in, extra practice.
Extra practice indeed. His best lap time was 1 minute 35.8, so that puts him, and he does the F1 spin through the Variante, no.
What would we call that?
The name.
What would we call that? In Aqua Mineral, that spin, would we call that the Lando Norris, the Kevin Magnussen, the Valtteri Bottas, the
Charles Leclerc?
No, that's Alta.
No, Leclerc did it last year. He was the original to do it.
I know, but we do with this current year. Charles Leclerc's got a new corner. Don't worry.
Oh, we'll get to that corner during the race. Yes, of course it was Aqua Minerale. I've been seeing this track so much, I've forgotten all the corner names.
Well, qualifying is over right now, so it's time to get ready to rock and roll as the grid is up. 37 cars are all going to be get ready to rock and roll here at Imola, and it's time to see our starting order.
It's just waiting for it.
There it is.
Right.
There it is. We'll be starting up on pole, followed by Lucas Maruk, Timo Braun, Luca Ferrari, Alex Lado, Rodrigo Duran, Leonardo Cherry, Will McIntyre, Evan Wade, James Polsland, Clark Williams, and Alistair Hay. They're followed by Andy Flint, Antonio Tellez, Jack Reeve, and Christian Latanzio, Aaron Smith, Nicholas Westman, Robert Ridgway, Adam Talsma, Darren Rollinson, and Andrea Brichetti, Nico Veldman, Martin Devine, Cucciaido, Massimiliano De Laurentiis, Alex Hopkins, Stuart Millen in 28th. And behind them in the final sections would be Piers Berry, Richard Van Veen, Reed Dennis, Nick Carney, Patrick Rollins, Noel Richie Robertson, and Kieran Richie Robertson, Matthew Gracie, and Matthew Brewer at the end of our 37-car grid here at Imola. As everybody is starting to line up right here, I would say the top 20 cars will be starting in a straight line. Everybody else be starting on the non-straight part of the front stretch.
It's so difficult when you start like that. You've got to be so careful with your clutch release, and any steering angle that you might have to put in the car is just such a detrimental effect to the start. So really watch out for that. But Jerome Lamy, you can see him on pole position. He has been super rapid in this series. What can he do today?
Well, his best bet is to hold it down to the inside, heading into Tamburello, and make sure he gets a better start than Lucas Baruch, so Lucas can't charge it around to the outside. Lucas, though, if he can hold it around the outside, he could be exiting Tamburello in P1. It's time to get ready to rock and roll here at Imola for the iGPFUN Formula 3 Series as we go green, green, green. And a great getaway right there from 4th place. Luca Verardi jumping Timo Braun immediately as Jerome Lamy defends from Lucas Baruch. Side by side they go. The fight for 3rd place around the outside. Verardi trying to hold it right there, but off going wide in the background. It's a few cars as the first 5 get through there very easily, but we got a car flying through Tamburello right there. I'm not sure who that is. I think that was Nico Veldman.
There was some, yeah, not sure. There's Andy Flint in the pits. You can see at the top of your screen, lots of people on our timing screens have apparently crashed. There was a car that went across the grass on the inside on the entry to Tamburello, and I think he might have collected quite a few cars. This is on board with James Powsland, now just pulling in behind Will McIntyre, not wanting to make the move early on in this race as we head down towards Acqua Minerale. It's a great start from your race leader, Jerome Lamy, Lucas Baruch as well. And Luca Verardi did have a good start, as that's certainly not the way you want to go through Acqua Minerale on the first lap. And that's really going to leave him open from behind, as you see everybody just go past him on the braking zone into the Variante Alta, and James Powsland has not had the start he would have wanted.
Yeah, he's pulling over onto the inside of the track, letting other drivers by as he has to serve that slowdown penalty as best he can do right there. But that start was so messy. Not at the front of the field, it was pretty good. Off the line, Luca Verardi, I thought he was going to have the opportunity to go around the outside of Timo Braun, but he thought about it, saying, lap 1, we shouldn't really be that aggressive right there. And if I get into an incident, everybody else is going to get into an incident. He backed off, and I would say that that would kind of start a little slinky effect. And I feel like drivers are starting to slow down where other drivers were not used to, as drivers are now heading into the pits. Piers Berry, Kieran Richie Robertson, Darren Rollinson, and Richard Van Veen and Andy Flint have headed into the pits. Actually, Richard Van Veen stayed out, but I believe he was, I believe Richard Van Veen was the one that involved in that as well. He's just stayed out as we are waiting for live pictures to come back on the track. As we got live pictures. See Luca Verardi all over the gearbox of Timo Braun still, but look behind him. Alex Lado is there as well.
He is indeed. Jack Reeve has had some form of incident on the track. He has jumped back to the pit lane, so we hopefully will see him back out on track, but he will certainly not be on the lead lap. This is Luca Verardi still under pressure from Luedo. Luedo around the outside on the braking zone to the Variante Alta, and that is Luedo up to 4th place. And now he has to try and track down Timo Braun in 3rd for another podium. Luedo had a decent race at Alton Park. I'm trying to rack my brain for what happened, but I mean, Lamy is our main protagonist from Alton Park, doing exactly the same as he did in Britain. He is just in the lead, and almost a second separates him from Lucas Baruch in 2nd place, and Braun as well, almost a second behind. And Luedo now has to try and catch up to Braun, but Duran here wants to pass Luca Verardi, and he certainly does. Down the inside he goes, gets the move done even before they hit the braking zone of Tamburello, pulls in front of Luca Verardi.
Oh, that's curb strike for Lado. Lado onto the inside of Tamburello, hits the curb, and he falls down 3 spots right there behind Verardi, Duran, and Braun.
And that's Leonardo Cherry in there somewhere in that little mix there.
It's right behind him.
Right behind him. Didn't realise where he'd come from. So that's a great move there from Duran. He's gone up 2 spots in the space of about 3 corners. So Duran is now our lead driver in this little pack, 5/10 separating them and Timo Braun. So Timo Braun's also had some form of issue through there because the gap was about 9/10 of a second, and that's just helping our leaders pull away. The gap is now 1.9 seconds between our third place man Timo Braun and Lucas Marek in second place. As we head down to the Variante Alta once again, is anybody going to try and do a Charles Leclerc and push absolutely through the chicane? No, everybody stays away from those curves. It's fair to say that I think everybody will be after watching today's race.
Yes, a lot of people, potential spoiler right there. I know a few of our drivers do not watch the race until, like, it's absolutely as late as possible because some people have lives. It's all good. I've been doing it for 5 years. I know when not to say anything.
Richard Van Veen has also had some form of incident. He has crashed on our timing stand, so a lot of drivers having trouble out there. It almost is like the track is a little bit wet out there.
Well, I need to say, speaking of wet, well, some of these drivers might feel like they're driving wet tires at the end of this race because tire wear is going to be a big factor. I was doing a few official races throughout the week, and they're not the giant lap, 28-lap races that we have in iGPFUN. They're, well, 25% shorter, as some might say. And I was noticing throughout that race that the tire wear is getting really, really bad. And a few of the drivers in this session were in the session that I was test driving. And I started to notice that everyone's times just fell off on the cliff near the end of this race because the acceleration, the amount of abuse you put on the rear tires today is going to be astronomical. Heading into Tamburello, the acceleration out of Tamburello. Heading into Villeneuve, the acceleration out of Villeneuve. Heading into Tosa, the acceleration out of every corner. And it's just going to be killing these rear tires here today. And the amount of attack that you attack these curves with might also add to how much you're putting onto these tires. So the driver who's going to be winning this race or making up a lot of moves will be the driver who is the most kind to their tires. So that's a defensive dive down to the inside for Westman as Aaron Smith just staying behind him, but there's no DRS on the front straight. We don't need it here in Formula 3. Tamburello, the front straight heading into Tamburello is all we need. Is Smith right on that gearbox, looking down to the looking on to the outside, which switches on to the inside right there. Aaron Smith gets up into 14th, heading into Tamburello, leading by Carly, covers him off in the braking zone. Good move by Aaron Smith as we go to Lato, who is leading Luca Verani.
They are actually catching a little bit to the pack. No, I lie. Sorry, this is Laredo. So Braun and Marek, the gap is now up to 2.4 seconds. To disregard what I was saying, that gap is just ebbing away, and that's really playing into the hands of Lamy and Lucas Marek, because that's going to play into their hands if they start battling. They've got a few laps sort of grace period where they're not going to come under fire from the drivers behind. You're looking at Timo Braun right now. He's got Rodrigo Duran right behind him, Laredo right behind him, and Verani for company as well. And Leonardo Cherry also going with this battle. And actually, it's not too far behind for Will McIntyre. This could become a 5-6-way battle for third place. And if there's anything that says F3, a 6-way battle, or yeah, 6-way battle for third place, certainly says that. Timo Braun really struggling to get the car turned in there into Ravazza 1. Just the rear tyres not really doing what he would have wanted them to do, and that has allowed Duran, and that's absolutely amazing run. He's in the slipstream, he's going to pull towards the inside. They're going to go side by side as they head down towards Tamburello, and I think Duran's got this one.
Oh, he's backed off right there. Let Duran be clear, heading into Tamburello. Duran now in third place after that great run into Tamburello. But now, if Braun could stay with Duran right there through this entire lap, he could get that position right back there as Lato right behind him gets a little bit wide and Just gives the kitty litter just a little kiss.
Yes, we've seen menu driver in that litter, in that gravel trap. You're infecting me with your very cool words for gravel traps. Yes, we've seen drivers in there running wide, and it's so easy to lose the car. And Luedo again going very wide at the top of the hill at Piratella there, turn 9, really using all of the track and some. Have to be careful for some off tracks. Oh, and that's Duran really wide. Duran's had a really wide moment coming out of Aqua Minerale. He's still ahead, only by a slither.
He was right in the curve on the apex right there. And the apex of the second part of Aqua Mineral, that left-hander, the second part of the chicane, as some might say, could really upset the car. He got shot across the track. Luckily, he was able to keep it going forward right there and didn't lose a spot. But speaking of losing a spot, Braun is under pressure by Ledo. Ledo had an amazing run through Alta, and now Ledo, even before we hit the start-finish line, is going for the move. Side by side they go across the line. Ledo looking for force. They go side by side. Ledo getting a little bit of extra help right there, picking up draft from Duran as they're going to go side by side, heading to Tamburello. There are two wide, and once again backing off into Tamburello. Smart driving by these drivers. They know that they have a long race up ahead of them, and they shouldn't, you know, be risking it just for one spot in the first third of this race.
Sorry to cut in there, Austin. Lucas Maruk has taken the lead. Jerome Lamy down to second place. The gap is now 6/10, and that has happened somewhere on the last lap. And Lucas Maruk is your new race leader. You might be very right there. Also, Leonardo.
No, that's not Tamburello. You see the back end kicking out right there at Tamburello for Jerome Lamy. And
he is.
Gets onto the curb off the exit right there, gets into the grass, and that's going to be killing a lot of momentum. Avoids the curb. The car slides as he's just trying to finesse it around the curb. He's mowing all sorts of grass right there, trying to stay out of the sandy beach on the outside of Tamburello. But that is how Lucas Maruk leads the race here at Imola.
Talking of mistakes, we've also had one from Leonard O. Cherry. He is down in 18th place. He was, of course, in that fight for third place overall, but he has had some form of issue. In fact, we can see what that issue is right now as he heads down towards Aqua Minerale. Is he going to just do what all the F1 drivers done, touch the white line? Oh, he's just... That's like... Is that a wheel disconnect or something? Because it's like he just didn't turn anymore. It's like he just went straight. I mean, you normally sort of, when your wheel disconnects, it normally sort of goes to one sort of full rotation in one direction. Yeah, but I mean, that was very strange from Leonard O'Cherry.
I would say that would not be a wheel disconnect. That would be a, that's an issue right there. Big neck code right there coming across the track. Who is that? That's Aaron Smith, who went side by side into Tamburello, got a little bit of tag from the side. Aaron Smith somehow keeping that car in one piece right there, but he's going to be definitely fuming to catch up right there. I think Christian Latanzio at his home race and also making his debut in the iGPFUN Formula 3 Series, defending hard into Piratella, trying to hold it around the outside. Not going to happen right there, but he took a lot of speed off and almost got hit, tapped from behind by Tony Jimenez.
Did indeed. Evan Way still defending for his life as we head into Aqua Minerale. Once again, everybody makes it through.
Oh, but here we go. Off the exit of Aqua Minerale, Christian had a better exit than Way, but Way defending onto the inside. Way taking a lot of curbs right there. Once again, Christian, he's being very cautious on the brakes. Doesn't want to push in right there, because if you carry a better braking zone into Alta, and the other driver took it a lot tighter, like we saw Evan do, that would be a two-car tango, which doesn't end well.
Certainly does not. Leonard O'Cherry once again has gone off the track. His day goes from bad to worse. He's now in 27th place as we are looking at Will McIntyre. He has got past Luca Varani. He is now the new inhabitant of 6th place, and he has now got to chase down Timo Braun, and it's still Duran, Luedo and Braun, your third, fourth and fifth.
Well, that train that we saw at the end in the shot before that, I think that train might have crashed as we had 2 cars go off the track heading into Tamburello, as we get a replay look right here. And, oh, we see the remnants of this incident. It seems like they tried to go too wide at a Tamburello, and somebody might have got tapped into a curb. And,
yes, those curbs are very deadly.
That is my hypothesis of the situation.
I think that's certainly one that should easily be able to be backed up. I do believe you are right. It's never a really great idea to be going side by side into Tamburello, and there was a quick glimpse of somebody out off the track as we head back to live pictures. And this is Will McIntyre trying to get past Luca Varani once again. So Varani's managed to retake that position. So Will McIntyre needs to do it all again. Can he do it on the run down to Tamburello, who's got a much better exit coming out of Ravazza 2. He's in the slipstream. Varani doesn't have that option. He has no slipstream. Nobody breaking that air. And McIntyre has got such a good option. Is he going to go the long way around? He certainly is. They're side by side as we head down towards Tamburello now. Who's going to be a little bit braver on the brake? And Varani was so much later. I was worried that he wasn't going to even make the corner, but he did. But this has given McIntyre such a better run on the exit.
Varani shoved the exit. He got the elbows out the entry at Tamburello, forcing McIntyre to succeed the position heading to fielder. McIntyre goes wide. And here comes James Polsland. Polsland around the outside. At Tosa, Polsland drifted the back end of that car round the outside for 7th place.
Well, Polsland took advantage of any opportunities that he sees, and he certainly did that once again. Great move there from Polsland, really seizing the opportunity and making it count where it really matters. And that has allowed Luca Varani just to cruise up the road. And it's a dream situation for Varani, and certainly a nightmare for Will McIntyre. He is down in 8th place, and we've had a little bit of action out and about. Evan Way and Aaron Smith, I think, have had a little bit of a coming together at some point on the track. But this is your battle for the lead. Marek still in the lead with Jerome Lamy right behind him. The gap is down to 0.4 of a second. And last lap, no, it was, so Jerome Lamy was about 0.3 of a second quicker than Lucas Marek. So Lamy has the pace in this phase of the race. Whether he's pushing the tyres too much, only time will tell. But Jerome Lamy looking...
just put in the fastest lap of the race that lap. So he's definitely got the pace on Lucas Marek. But to agree with you, I think he's putting a little bit too much strain on those tires to keep it to the end. But, you know, honestly, higher life is one thing. Keeping in touch with the leader is another, but you can see Jerome Lamy getting wild off the exit of Villeneuve.
Certainly going to more Tokyo Drift than Formula 3 races at the moment. Evan Way has been involved in another accident, and he is back to the pit lane. So update for you for any Evan Way fans out there tonight, as we have a look at Jerome Lamy as he heads down towards the Aqua Minerale section. He's just a little bit more confident under braking, has a little bit more ability to take a little bit more speed through the apex, and that helps your lap time so significantly, but it does put undue pressure on the tyres, and only time will tell whether that's going to come back to haunt him or if he is playing the perfect game with his tyre management. We're down towards the Ravazza braking zone. This is the Luedo-Duran battle. Luedo has been in this battle now for the entire race, and he will be certainly wanting pass of Rodrigo Duran to head into the really, really tricky braking zone of Ravazza 1. I'm surprised we don't see more incidents there, Austin. I mean, it's just been so many incidents. I mean, no, it's such a hard corner. The braking zone is so difficult. I'm surprised we don't see so many more accidents there, but we really don't.
Well, it's the end of the week. All these drivers have been racing these Formula 3 cars throughout the week. They've been practicing, they've been learning the track, they've been perfecting the way that they race around here. So we technically get the best drivers at the top of their game with the most amount of track knowledge at the end of the week here in iGPFUN than at the very start of the week. And also the track's not wet. So the downhill is already heading into Ravazza. It's already deceiving enough. Add wet weather into the mix, it just becomes an entire guessing game. And I'm guessing that's where your idea of mistakes heading into that corner is coming from, because we were seeing that a lot over the weekend in real life. But here in the sim, a lot of these drivers know where to brake. It's just a very difficult move to actually pull off down the inside at Rubiata, because if you want to go late at Rubiata, you're going to be ending up in that sandbar on the outside.
You certainly are. Riding on board with Jerome Lamy through the Variante Alta chicane, and that was very wide from your race leader. And that's certainly not how you want to do it. Not treating the tyres as well as you'd like. Jerome Lamy, though, on the power, on the brakes now for Ravazza 1, the tricky braking zone that we were talking. Gets the car stopped into the apex very nicely, runs a little bit onto the curb on the apex of Ravazza 2, and that's given him a great run now. And Lucas Marok will be praying that that back marker gets out of the way, but also gives him as much toe as possible. And he got out of the way, but he had no toe. And is this Jerome Lamy's best chance to make an overtake? He's a little bit too far back. He wasn't in the slipstream. I thought he would be. Wow, Jerome Lamy was so close to the grass there. He is playing with fire, and that's Luedo through on Rodrigo Duran. Luedo up into third place in this race so far, but we've seen Duran be able to come back at anybody who has managed to overtake him. So I hazard a guess that this battle is certainly not over for the final spot on the podium.
I'm going to be honest, the final top 3 battle is still going on. And why I say the final top 3, Lamley, he could have... That is that lap car pulling off right there. That was not our leader. That was Evan Way finding the way back into the pits. As we continue to see these two go on. But yeah, our 2 leaders. The move by Lamley to not pressure Maruk into Tamborelli. He was in the draft, but then he just decided, I'm not going to take her toe right there. I'm guessing he was just playing it safe and letting Maruk feel pressure that Lamley is on his tail, and he needs to keep pushing and keep the abuse on those tires alive. And we saw him heading through Riviera. He was very aggressive, so Lamley is playing the long game here.
He is, and that's the great thing about this league over the officials, is we do get to play the long game. Much more strategy is involved as we ride on board with Lucas Marok, watching back towards Jerome Lamy as we head down the straight once again. And what does Jerome Lamy try to do? Does he try to follow in the slipstream? He does look like he's wanting to do that a lot more than last lap. Is he going to pull a very late move, or is he just going to back off? He's just got so much more confidence under braking, even when he's sort of playing it a little bit safe. That car just seems at the moment to have a little bit more pace, and you have to wonder if Lamy wasn't in the dirty air of Lucas, how much quicker could he be going? I mean, the flip side to that is how much more of his tyres could he be using, but it certainly seems at this part, with half the race actually gone, it does seem advantage Jerome Lamy.
Well, they are still pulling away from third and fourth behind him. They aren't really fighting each other. They're just, you know, checking each other out, seeing on how each other enters these corners, how they go through these corners, which part of the track that they do have an advantage or disadvantage through, so which part of the track that they might need to attack into to make sure that they don't lose the back end off each other. Lamley losing Maruk, or if for Maruk, how much time you're losing from Lamley at one time. Like, do you take Alta very differently than how Lamley takes it? Or do you take Aqua Minerale in this way, and Lamley is getting a lot of time in the brake zone because you're taking it a lot easier heading into that corner, and Lamley's being a little bit more aggressive. Like you said, he has a car that is much more stable under braking, so Maruk is going to be more focused on attacking these corners now. And I think that's up to Lamley, but Lamley heading up to Tamborella right now is on the gearbox of Lucas Maruk in the fight for our lead. There we go. Lamley looking down the inside, not going to launch a move, but he is sniffing right there.
He is indeed really wanting Lucas Maruk to soak up all the pressure that Lamy is giving him, and just sort of hoping for a forced error from Maruk, and Lamy can just drive by without having to even worry about any risky overtakes. We've had an incident out on track with Leonard O'Cherry. His race goes from bad to worse to even worse, as that's his third incident. He is still driving around the track. He is now down in P19 as we look at Rodrigo Duran once again behind Luedo, and Luedo has not been able to pull away from Rodrigo Duran. So this is still a battle for 3rd place. Timo Braun's dropped off the back of this fight just a little bit. The gap is now 1.2 seconds. So still in the danger zone. If you are Luedo or Duran, you have to be watching your mirrors and be wary of Timo Braun, but they can certainly afford to have a little bit of a battle. That was all very interesting, and there's also been an incident involving Richard Van Veen, and Richard has not had the luck recently. It's he is a quick driver, and it's just sad to not see him up at the top of the field, but his season has not gotten off to a good start.
Yeah, not the best start for Richard Van Veen, as we are at the halfway point of the season as well. So, you know, the way that your season's going, if it's been going great, you're in the title fight. If it's not going good, it's an uphill battle from here, and you're going to just be trying to focus on recovery and finish the end of the season on a high, or just start thinking about next season and looking at the iRacing updates, being like, please let this be the one.
Well, of course, we've had the new tyre model, and some of the drivers I've been speaking to really do not like the tyre model. Talking of the tyres, Marok was really not kind to them through Tosa. Again, all very sideways. He was indeed. The tyre temps will be through the roof. You'll have to be really, really careful through Piratella, and Jerome Lamy just able to keep it within the bounds of the track. And that just helps the tyres, helps the tyre wear, helps the tyre temperatures. And Marok really feeling the pressure right now. And I think Lamy is going to start to think about a move. Aaron Smith has also had an incident out there on track.
Now, I know some drivers do not like the new tire model because they give out and they wear a lot more faster. I'm going to be honest. I actually like that. It is the smoother drivers, the drivers who are more kind to the tires, will be very will be a lot better on this current build. And also in these longer races, it's even better to see. I know in the reason why they did it was because, well, the official races didn't have to worry about the tires. Now you kind of do. And in these type of races, you have to look after these tires.
You certainly do, yes. I think if you're a driver, you won't really be liking the time models, but as spectators and commentators, we absolutely love
as a
the
driver
new
too,
update.
I like that, but then again, I'm weird.
As a driver who is terrible on his tires, not for me, thank you very much. I have no time management skills whatsoever. Jerome Lamy certainly does so. This is Rodrigo Duran having a look down the inside into the very anti-Villeneuve, but thinks better of it. Decides just to stick behind Luedo and thinks maybe about a move into Tosa corner, but he's too far back. But Luedo has not at all been able to pull away from Rodrigo Duran, but they are pulling away from 5th place man Timo Braun. But actually Braun's starting to come under pressure from Luca Varani, and then there's a little bit of a no man's land for Pausland and McIntyre, and actually Williams and Hay. Hay's got a 10-second gap between him and 9th place Williams, so these are certainly the closest battles out on track. Actually, lower down the field, there's a good battle for 24th place. That's Brewer trying to get past the new driver Lazino. The number 64 car being chased down by the number 29 car. You can see them
by quite a bit. They're not going to be challenged heading into turn 1 right there, but he is staying in that draft, and Matthew Brewer up 12 spots as we go back to our fights.
Just as I start talking about them, I think Brewer had a bad exit there, but Lamy is really close to Lucas Marek, and I think there's going to be a move into Tamburello.
Lamley's best chance right here. Lamley holding it very tight down to the inside. Jerome Lamley side by side. Lucas Marek sends it down to the inside of Tamburello, but slides it through the corner. He's going to be slow off the exit, but Jerome Lamley takes the lead coming out of Tamburello heading into fielder, and Lucas Marek with that better exit through Tamburello right on that gearbox. And now can Marek get Lamley back? He's not going to be in position through Villeneuve, but now Lamley, after seeing how much Marek has been pressuring on those tires, Lamley, he's been saving those tires. He's been waiting for his moment right here with 11 laps to go. It's time for Lamley to start pressuring those tires and really abusing Lucas Marek and trying to pull away right now. There's a little bit of separation heading into Aqua Mineral, but what we're going to be seeing off the 6 is really going to be the tail of the tape heading into Alta and Lamley. He gained a 10th off the exit right there. That's not enough. That's not a lot in the short scheme of things, but in the grand scheme of things, Jerome Lamley is starting to pull away because it looks like he has been more kinder to his tires.
He certainly has. To be interesting to watch that fight and see if Lucas Maruk was playing the long game out in front and just sort of allowing Lamey to use up his tires. Yeah, fascinating battle for the lead. Fascinating battle down the field as well. This is Varani on Timo Braun. Varani breaks a little bit later into Ravazza 1, through Ravazza 2, but is able to keep it much tighter, and this is going to look like it's a fight for the lead indeed, Austin.
Yeah, Lamley and Maruk side by side once again, heading into Tamburello. Maruk able to use that draft down the front straight, sends it down to the inside, retaking the lead here, but a massive wiggle off the exit of the leader. Lucas Maruk and Jerome Lamley are still not done as we are looking at the fight for 5th place, and there is Lucas Maruk still defending from Jerome Lamley. Lamley was all over the gearboxes heading into Villeneuve because off the exit after Lucas Maruk took the lead, he had a massive wiggle middle of the corner, and that's just really showing on how little grip he has at the back end of that car. And Duran has overtaken Ledo in 3rd place.
Yeah, Luedo's been off the track at some point during the last, or this lap even. So yeah, Luedo made a mistake, and that has granted the position to Rodrigo Duran.
Oh, that's a mistake by Lamley going wide in Aqua Mineral.
Hasn't seemed to lose too much time though, and this is the move. Well, this is actually what's happened to Luedo. Oh, he's hit the curb. Did what Aaron Smith did.
Hop the curb on the apex right there. And right as we switch to that, as we switch to that move, I mentioned Lamley going very wide at Aqua Mineral. And what happened right there, Jerome Lamley got a slowdown. I would say we get a slowdown penalty for that, but he definitely lost a lot of speed right there. So he's down to 7/10 behind Lucas Maruk now as they continue their race.
That would certainly make a lot of sense about getting a slowdown, because it didn't look like Lamey had lost too much time on the...
It's not a massive slowdown. It would just be a loss of speed. It wouldn't be a slowdown penalty. That would be at Alta where you usually get that.
But he didn't seem to lose too much time. They were still really close together. I think Lamey took more speed in, but you used to be able to get a slowdown, a nasty slowdown actually, on the exit of Aqua Minerale, although I'll hold my hands up and say I haven't driven this track in anger for a few weeks, but this has certainly dented Jerome Lamey's race-winning attempt. He's still got 8 laps to do it, and he is within that crucial 1 second, so don't count out Jerome Lamey whatsoever, but it's certainly now advantage Lucas Maruk. But yes, Luedo also struggling, and actually just to make matters worse for Luedo, Varani and Braun are both within a second behind him, or respectively within a second off the driver ahead behind them, so that's a 3-way battle for 4th place. So Luedo, after making that mistake, is going to come under pressure, and he's going to have to work really hard if he wants to even maintain 4th position, let alone get that 3rd place back.
Well, that advantage that he set to Lucas Maruk is, well, that advantage is it's just so slim right now, because right on his gearbox one again, Jerome Lamley, and heading into Roviata, I saw a little bit of wiggle underneath braking right there.
Yeah, it certainly seems like Lamey's just got so much more grip in the car. With 8 laps to go, you would be starting to expect the tyres to be going off. They are in their sort of phase of going off. So yeah, Jerome Lamey has kept his tyres more as Jerome Lamey heads towards the outside into Tamburello. Maruk brakes that bit late, but he stops the curb.
Strike right there for Maruk. On the apex, the inside apex of the first part of Tamburello, got airborne right there after striking that curb, kept the car going. Lamley looking down to the inside. Lamley is just toying with him right now. He's just saying, I'll force you into defense. I'm not going to send around the outside, and he's just forcing Lucas Maruk and just allowing Lucas Maruk to make these silly mistakes. Lamley goes wide to get the better exit coming out of Toza right now, heading to Piratella, but Lucas Maruk, with that massive mistake, is probably shaking his head that he is playing into Jerome Lamley's trap.
He is indeed. To make matters worse for Maruk, Jerome Lamy set the fastest lap of the race that last time by a 1 minute 36.23 seconds. But Maruk, yeah, I'm surprised he didn't end up with a little bit more damage. Those curbs are so nasty in the Tamburello chicane. So easy to pick up race-ending floor damage. Maruk all a quiver on the exit of Variante Alta, really struggling now. He needs to just start to calm down, stop even overdriving the car and start thinking about the long game. Jerome Lamy will at some point, his pace should start to drop off with the tyre wear. Maruk just needs to hang on and see if he can bait Lamy into using his tyres more, but Lamy's got an absolutely mega run out of the final corner of Vatsa 2. He is in the slipstream, but are we going to see a repeat of what happened 1 lap ago?
Well, Lamley, he did that same move a few times already throughout this race. I think he's just playing with Lucas Maruk heading into these curves, because 2 times in a row we've seen Lucas Maruk send it into Tamburello and make a little mistake, either off exit or either on entry. That time he actually made it through there pretty cleanly, but Lucas Maruk is definitely going to have to stop worrying about Jerome Lamy right behind him and start focusing about himself, because we got 7 laps to go here at Imola, and if this keeps going and Jerome Lamy gets out of this mindset of, okay, I need to start going right here, they could have that opportunity, as right behind him heading into Paratellas to fight for 3rd, and they're approaching that lap traffic as Luca Verani and Leto are in that fight for 4th place.
Oh, we're going to see a move in to Acqua Minerale. No, Luca Verani thinks better of it, but he should be able to get the better run. We did indeed see that yesterday. We were all stunned in the commentary box, and I know the race is still ongoing. 7 laps to go. We might still see a move into Acqua Minerale, which was one of the highlights of my commentary career. Luca Verani gets a really good exit out of the Variante Alta. Can he make a move into Ravazza 1? He's going to move towards the outside. They're going to go side by side. He's on the grass, but down the inside goes Luedo, defends very nicely. And Luca Verani was oh so close to ending up in the wall, but they just managed to keep everything in the right direction. And that's actually allowed Luedo to get a better run out of Ravazza 2. And we head back towards the battle for the lead.
I must say, the dive down into Ravazza 1 is not a smart opportunity for an overtake unless it's the last lap of the race, or you know your car has a better acceleration out of the corner, because you're just going to have that giant draft heading into Tamburello. And oh, big offer! Lamley is off at the exit of Villeneuve, and he drops down to a 2nd behind Lucas Maruk. Lamley got onto the curb on the outside. The car darted right, the car darted left. He got into the grass, and he's now out of a 2nd behind Lucas Maruk. And this is go time for Jerome Lamley, because that is a big mistake right there.
That is certainly what Jerome Lamy would not have wanted. I mean, it's obvious to say, but it is true. But we have seen Lamy have so much pace and is able to catch up with Lucas Maruk. He did that when he made that mistake at Acqua Minerale a few laps ago. So watch to see if Lamy can repeat that. And that's an indication of his tyres still being in the window. But you have to say,
he's fallen
Lamy,
away.
Yeah, he is. His sector times are not impressive at all, as this is the battle between Verani and Luedo. Verani once again is thinking about the move into Ravazza 1, tries the outside this time. Is he going to break late?
On the inside right there at the apex of Ravazza. Luca Verani had to back out right there. Big lockup at Ravazza. It was a dangerous opportunity. He definitely didn't know the lap car was going to be right there. Very wrong place, wrong time for Luca Verani. Big lockup. He's back on track. He left the track for a little bit, but he is back behind Leto by 1 second, as we have more moves happening throughout the race. Reed Dennis and Patrick Rollins and the same in a little bit of
we
a
just
fight
highlight
at
this
Alta.
battle? Patrick Rowlands is up 18 positions, followed by Reed Dennis, who himself is up 15, and then Alex Hopkins behind them, up 10 positions, as I think we've had Luedo's out! Luedo's out of the race!
At Tamburello, heading into Tamburello, I think off the exit, Leto might have got caught on the curb, as, well, we're going to have a Total Sim Sport dive to replay very soon to show you what happened heading into Tamburello. It's all on his own. And he's just hit the curb on the inside, then went into the outside, got into the grassy dunes of Tamburello, slid off and into the wall, and that is going to be the end of Lado's race for him. And that is so unfortunate as Dennis now looking down the inside, but that forces Rollins to go wide. Dennis round the outside on Patrick Rollins. That is 17 spots gained. And slow car out the inside of Tosa almost takes both of them out. Who was that? That was
Brachetti. That was Brachetti. He's had his own incident at Tosa corner.
18 and 19 positions gained right now.
Absolutely crazy there from Reed Dennis. That was certainly a lap that he'll like to watch back many a time. That was a great move from him and a great avoidance maneuver to top it off. Let's have a look at the replay. So this is on board with Bruschetti.
Too much
down
mustard
into
heading
the corner.
This is too much mustard. It is very easy. It is back end. Woohoo! Going around 180, kicking around. That's going to be over the heat of the tires. If you see these two just getting right there, and hello! As they almost give Buchetti almost a collision right there, but they keep it through there. And Reed Dennis starting to pull away from everybody else as, everybody around him just had superheated tires now. And he's seen the only one in control of his car that lap out of those three.
He is indeed. So let's have a little bit of a quick update of your top five. After Luedo unfortunately crashed out. And that's Timo Braun going really, really wide. That's going to give a great opportunity to Pausland. He's on the inside down towards Variante Alta. Very, very easy indeed. Has even enough time to head towards the racing line once again. So Timo Braun has some form of issue into the Aqua Minerale section. But yes, after Luedo did have that incident. Those tyres, I think, 3 laps to go. So yes, so Duran is by himself. Actually, Luca Ferrari catching him up. So there's still a battle for 3rd place. But Pausland sort of in 4th with Braun. Pausland in 5th with Braun in 6th place. But that loss of Luedo has certainly hampered the battle for 3rd just a little bit. Lamy is catching Lucas Maruk a little bit. Do we think he's going to have enough tyre for one last attempt?
He needs to close that gap if he has any opportunity to. We have 3 laps to go, and in these next 2 laps, he needs to get really close. I would say the goal for him in 2 laps is to get that 1 second gap down to half a second, and then he will have an opportunity on that heading into the white flag, heading into Tamburello, maybe close up that gap even more, and we might have a last-minute shot heading into Rivianza for Jerome Lamy to really make that work. But it just seems that coming out of Tosa, that Lamley is starting to struggle with his car, as Lucas Maruk just seems to be getting the better exits than Jerome Lamy, as Jerome Lamy is starting to just really be pressuring this car to make a small mistakes and just trying to extract the most lap time right out of there. But as we're coming out of Alta, we're starting to see a few things approach over the horizon. Lap traffic.
Yeah, I think Jerome Lamy sort of played into Lucas Maruk's hands. I mean, we were saying that Maruk was really under pressure from Lamy, but I think Lamy was also feeling the pressure from Lucas Maruk. And Varani's very a quiver on the entrance to Ravazza 1, and that's certainly not how you want to treat the tyres. He's lost about 3/10 to Rodrigo Duran, but the podium is still very much in sight for Luca Varani. 0.8 of a second separates Duran and Varani. Lamy is now within draft of Lucas Maruk. This battle is certainly not over.
Second to last lap. 2 laps to go.
2 laps to go, and just to add to the intrigue, Jerome Lamy sets another fastest lap. He was 0.3 of a second quicker than Lucas Maruk on that last lap. This is certainly one that you don't want to go anywhere for.
He is on the cusp of where he needs to be, heading through Rivianza for that move into Tamburello, heading into that white flag lap. 0.6. He just needs to be 0.5 to really have an opportunity to really yeet one onto the inside into Tamburello, or maybe try to hold it around the outside as they race through Piratella right now. 0.7 separate them and Jerome Lamy. Fastest lap of the race last time by. Let's stay on board through Aqua Mineral as he is hunting down Lucas Maruk in the fight for the lead, as they are on the penultimate lap right now through Alta. And you
Oh,
can
he's
see
wide.
attacking
Lane
the
is wide.
curb by Lucas Baruch. Here comes Jerome Langley making a pressure right there, but both of them had a little bit of a mistake off the exit right there. You going very wide off the track and just using all the track to their advantage, heading into Riviera 1. This is the time. They're separated by 6/10, but the exit of Riviera, it looks like that is playing into Jerome Langley's hand. The white flag is in the air here at Imola as Barney waves it right now. They come across the line, 1 lap to go. Langley and Marouk, they're separated just by half a second. Marouk's going to be leading into Tamburello. It's going to be one giant dive for Jerome Langley to close up that gap because it is the last time they're going to go through there. Langley needs to give this lap everything to catch up to Lucas Marouk as they are separated by half a second as they're racing out of Tamburello heading into Villeneuve. Lucas Baruch, he's just got to keep it clean as Langley goes all the way onto the AstroTurf as they head into Tosa. Right now, half a second still separates them, both these drivers giving it their all right now. A little bit of a wiggle off the exit of Tosa by Lucas Baruch as they do have lap traffic up ahead of them as they head into Piratella. As they continue to drive and race. Langley getting a bit of a run, getting into the draft, but he has a little bit of slide through Piratella as we race into Ackerman around one last time they go. Langley, this has been his corner. Marouk got held up right there. He got held onto the brakes, just a little bit of a small lock. Lap car down to the inside, getting out of the way right now. Last time through Alta. This has been Lucas Marouk's biggest struggle right there, and he is slow out of Alta. Here comes Jerome Langley right now heading into Riviera, but he's just too far away. He's gonna need Lucas Baruch to make a mistake right now through Riviera 1 or 2 as they round the corner. The checker flag is waving in the air, and it's a drag race to the end. It's gonna be Lucas Baruch taking the win here at Imola.
Jerome Langley second, but there is still a very fierce battle for third place. Luca Ferrari drag racing to the line. Rodrigo Duran just takes that final podium position. Luca Ferrari will have to settle for fourth place. What an incredible final lap there. Battles all over the shop. And Timo Braun comes across the line in fifth place. What a final few laps of this race. Congratulations, Lucas Marouk. What a race. He managed that superbly. It looked in the middle part of the race, Austin, that he was starting to struggle with the tyres, but I wonder if he was just...
That's a big wiggle up ahead by Reed Dennis going through Alta. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Langley was giving that lap all. He set a new fastest lap of the race. He was just barely faster than Lucas Baruch that time by, but he did set the new fast lap of the race. He gave it his all, and Dennis with that big wiggle, he could fall under pressure by Patrick Rowlands now, but Dennis, he had that gap before heading into Alta, and that saved him right there. Dennis 13th, Rowlands 14th, and 18th and 19th positions gained by these two.
Absolutely incredible race from all involved. Of course, Dennis and Rowlands up some of the highest positions actually are. Your biggest gainer in the race is Patrick Rowlands, up an astonishing 19 positions. Closely followed by Reed Dennis, our number 13, P13 driver, up 18 positions. So Reed Dennis and Patrick Rowlands, certainly the biggest gainers in the field. As we are just watching all of the rest of the cars come across the line, which they all do. But what a race we had for us there. It had everything, and this is why we love coming to Imola.
Yeah, Jerome Langley and Lucas Baruch, that final lap battle, they were both giving it their all. I'm sorry I was talking over for you. I've never talked an entire lap in anger like these two were driving into anger, and what a race we had all the way to the end.
I'll save your voice. I'll do the race results. You have a sip of water to make sure you don't collapse. So, Lucas Baruch is your race winner for Digital Apex. He has a 5/10 gap to second place Jerome Langley, with Rodrigo Duran rounding out your podium positions. Luca Varani just misses out in fourth place with Timo Braun in fifth. James Powland in sixth after, I think, making a little bit of a mistake on the final lap, so he'll be happy with that. Will McIntyre is in seventh place with Clark Williams coming home in eighth. Alistair Hay in ninth with Aaron Smith rounding out your top 10. Adam Tausma is 11th, and Robert Ridgway in 12th place. Reed Dennis and Patrick Rowlands even in 13th and 14th, of course, our two biggest gainers of the race, with Andrea Brichetti in 15th. Leonard O'Cherry recovers to 16th place after being off the track more than he seemed to be on it today. So great comeback drive from Leonard O'Cherry, with Alex Hopkins in 17th place. Tellers is down in 18th after having a little bit of an issue earlier on that we didn't unfortunately see, and Atoa in 19th, and Nick Carty is 20th place. As we move down the field, in 21st place we have Darren Rowlandson, and he is our first driver who was lapped. Sorry, the first driver who was lapped. So that was Darren Rowlandson in 21st, with Richard Van Veen in 22nd. Noah Richie Robinson is just ahead of his brother Killearn Richie Robinson, with Matthew Gracie coming home in 25th place. De Laurentiis is 26th, with Matthew Brewer in 27th, with Alex Luedo, after having that crash, comes home 5 laps down in 28th place. And now we get into the real retirements of the race. Nico Veldman, Christian Lacinzo, Nicholas Westman, Stuart Milne, Evan Way, Jack Reeve, Piers Berry, Martin Devine, and Andy Flint, who we lost on the opening lap of the race. What a race that was. I just absolutely adore Imola. It just has everything you could want from a racetrack.
It's got its history, it's got such classic racing, and it just brings a smile to your face whenever you come here. And honestly, it should always stay on every Formula 3 calendar, or just pretty much a staple of almost every racing series that comes here, because this track is just perfect, especially for these Formula 3 cars. But unfortunately, as some things must come to an end, our awesome, amazing week at Imola will come to an end, and we go to the high-speed track down under at Phillip Island next week.
We do indeed, and yeah, some of these drivers wouldn't have even driven Phillip Island before, so it's going to be really interesting. I'm one of them. I'll have to do a few practice laps to get my eye in, so we can bring you the best commentary we possibly can. But can this man on screen, Lucas Maruk, can he do what he did tonight and win? Or will it be Jerome Lamy? He's had a really good run of races. First at Alton Park, second here. What can he do, as you rightly said, as we head to Phillip Island?
It certainly can. A Phillip Island high-speed action and a lot of fun. But for right now, that's going to be it here at Total Sim Sport for the iGPFUN Formula 3 Series here at Imola. Thank you all for watching, as we've had an amazing time up here in the booth. I've been joined by Seb Bosher-Williams. Sean Cranleigh-Swash has been giving you these amazing production graphics, replays, all that to you. And I'm Austin Knight, and I hope y'all have a good night.